Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel, and thank you for giving yourself a chance to become self-valued person. If you're watching this video, it means you have already taken one important step toward building your personal value. And that decision itself matters. Before we go any further, let me say this clearly. This is not just a video for learning English. This is a wake-up call. This video is meant to shake your thinking, challenge your habits, and remind you that life is moving forward whether you're ready or not. Learning English here is only the surface. The deeper purpose is learning how to grow, how to think, and how to become stronger as a person. This is a wake-up call because time does not wait. Every day you delay growth, you pay the price in missed opportunities. Every day you stay comfortable, you move further away from your potential. If something inside you feels restless, if you feel you can do more with your life, then this video is meant for you. Let me share an important truth. Personal value is more important than money. Money can come and go, but personal value stays with you for life. When you increase your personal value, money, respect, and opportunities begin to follow naturally. There's a powerful quote that says, "Money follows value, not the other way around." Look at how the world works. People do not truly respect someone just because they have money. They respect people who have discipline, confidence, honesty, and strong values. They respect people who stand by their word, who take responsibility, and who do not break under pressure. Respect is not forced. Respect is earned, and it is earned through behavior, consistency, and values. Another powerful quote says, "People don't follow titles, they follow character." When your personal value is high, people listen when you speak, they trust your decisions, and they naturally follow your lead. If you want people to respect you, you must first respect yourself. If you want people to follow you, you must first build yourself. The world responds to who you are, not to who you pretend to be. This video is designed to help you improve your English, but more importantly, it is designed to improve your mindset. As you listen, pay attention to the words, the meaning, and the message. Let your language improve, and let your thinking grow at the same time. Today, in this video, we're going to see 5 important rules that can improve your personal value and help you become successful. These rules are simple, but they are powerful. If you understand them and apply them in your life, your confidence will grow, your respect will increase, and your future will change. So stay focused, stay open-minded, and take this seriously because building personal value is one of the most important investments you will ever make. Let's begin. Rule number 1 is take full responsibility for your life. This rule is the foundation of personal value, success, and inner strength, because the moment you take responsibility is the moment you take control. Until that moment, life feels random, unfair, and overwhelming. But responsibility turns chaos into direction. If you want to increase your personal value, if you want success, respect, and control over your future, then this is the first rule you must master. Take full responsibility for your life. Not partial responsibility. Not responsibility when things go right. Full responsibility, especially when things go wrong. Most people live their entire lives believing they are stuck. They say, "I was born into the wrong family. I didn't get the right opportunities. The system is unfair. The timing is bad." And sometimes they are right. But here is the truth no one wants to hear. Life does not care whether it was fair to you or not. The moment you blame something outside yourself, you give away your power. Because if someone else is responsible for your life, then someone else controls your life. And that is the most dangerous place a human being can be. Most people spend their lives blaming something outside themselves. They blame their past, their parents, their education, their financial situation, their luck, or the system. Sometimes these things truly are unfair, but fairness has never been the deciding factor of success. Responsibility is. The moment you blame something, you give it power over you. When you blame circumstances, you surrender control. When you take responsibility, you reclaim it. Responsibility does not mean everything was your fault. It means everything is now your problem to solve. There is a deep freedom in responsibility. When you accept that no one is coming to save you, you stop waiting and start acting. Waiting creates weakness, but ownership creates strength. The strongest people are not those who had easy lives, but those who stopped making excuses for difficult ones. Taking responsibility forces honesty. You can no longer hide behind stories or comfort lies. You begin to see where you're wasting time, avoiding effort, or choosing comfort over growth. This awareness is uncomfortable, but it is powerful because clarity always comes before change. People who avoid responsibility remain stuck in the same cycles. They repeat the same mistakes, complain about the same problems, and expect different results. People who accept responsibility break cycles. They learn, adjust, and move forward even when progress is slow. Responsibility also builds self-respect. Every time you take ownership of your actions, your decisions, and your outcomes, you send yourself a message that your life matters enough to be handled seriously. Over time, this self-respect turns into confidence, and confidence increases your personal value. Life becomes simpler when you take responsibility. Instead of asking why something happened, you focus on what to do next. Instead of wasting energy on anger or regret, you invest energy in improvement. This shift alone separates high-value individuals from average ones. Taking responsibility does not mean you never fail. It means you never hide from failure. Failure becomes feedback, not an identity. You stop seeing setbacks as proof that you are unlucky and start seeing them as lessons that sharpen you. When you fully accept responsibility, you stop needing approval. You stop waiting for validation because your standards come from within. You measure your progress by your actions, not by others' opinions. This mindset changes how you speak, how you work, and how you carry yourself. Your words become deliberate, your actions become intentional, and your presence becomes stronger. People sense when someone owns their life, and that presence commands respect without asking for it. Taking responsibility also means understanding that discipline is your duty and growth is your obligation. No one owes you success, but you owe yourself effort. No one owes you clarity, but you owe yourself honesty. The moment you say, "This is my life and I am responsible for it," everything changes. Problems become challenges instead of threats. Pressure becomes training instead of punishment. Struggle becomes a path instead of a wall. Responsibility does not limit you. It empowers you. It removes excuses and replaces them with options. It shifts your mindset from victim to builder, from passive to active, from average to valuable. Take responsibility for your habits, your skills, your health, your mindset, and your future. When you do, you stop drifting and start directing your life. This is where personal value begins. Not with talent, not with motivation, not with opportunity, but with responsibility. When you fully own your life, you become someone who cannot be ignored. The world does not reward victims. It rewards leaders. And leadership starts with one sentence. No matter what happens, I am responsible for my life. Say it until you believe it. Live it until others see it. Because the day you take full responsibility is the day you become truly valuable. Rule number 2, stop being too available. Start becoming valuable. Before we go any further, let me ask you a question. How easily can people access you? Think about it. Do you reply immediately, every time? Do you say yes even when you want to say no? Do you make yourself available even when it costs you your peace? Now ask yourself something deeper. Has that made you more respected or more taken for granted? Here is a truth most people learn too late. The world does not value what is always available. It values what is intentional, focused, and rare. Availability feels like kindness, but unchecked availability becomes self-neglect. When you are available to everyone, your time loses weight. When your time has no boundaries, your presence has no impact. High-value people understand this early. They don't give access freely. They give it wisely. Let me ask you another question. If you disappeared for 1 week, would people miss your presence? Or would they simply replace it? That answer tells you everything about your current value. Being less available does not mean becoming selfish. It means becoming selective. Selective with your time. Selective with your energy. Selective with your attention. Focus is not arrogance. Focus is discipline. Most people are busy. Very few people are important. Why? Because importance comes from depth, not speed. From mastery, not constant responsiveness. When you stop being too available, your words carry more weight. Your time becomes respected. Your confidence increases. Not because you change for others, but because you finally respected yourself. Constant availability often comes from fear. Fear of being disliked, fear of missing out, or fear of losing connection. But when you live from fear, you trade long-term respect for short-term comfort. Respect grows when people know your time must be earned, not assumed. When you start becoming less available, something interesting happens. People begin to value your presence more. Conversations become more meaningful. Requests become more respectful. This change does not happen because you demanded respect, but because you finally respected yourself. The most respected people are not the busiest ones. They're the ones whose time feels intentional. Their schedules reflect their priorities, and their priorities reflect their values. This alignment creates strength, clarity, and confidence. When you stop being too available, you gain space to grow. You gain time to build skills, improve your mindset, and strengthen your vision. Growth requires solitude, and value requires depth. A life full of noise leaves no room for mastery. Stop chasing attention. Stop explaining your worth. Stop being accessible at the cost of your future. Build skills. Build focus. Build boundaries. Because when you become valuable, you no longer need to be available. Rule number 3, master the art of saying no. Before we talk about success, before we talk about money, status, or the confidence, we need to talk about something far more important. Boundaries. And boundaries begin with one simple word. No. Let me ask you something. How many times have you agreed to something you didn't want to do just to avoid discomfort? How many times have you sacrificed your time, your peace, your priorities, just to keep others happy? Now ask yourself this. Where has that taken you? Most people don't fail because they are lazy. They fail because they are over-available, over-committed, and under-focused. They say yes to everyone else and no to themselves. And slowly, silently, their own life moves to the background. Here is a truth that takes maturity to accept. You cannot live a powerful life without disappointing some people. That is not cruelty. That is reality. From childhood, we are trained to say yes. Yes to teachers. Yes to relatives. Yes to expectations. Yes to norms. And when we grow up, we confuse obedience with goodness and availability with value. But high-value individuals learn a dangerous lesson. Every yes is a cost. Ask yourself this question honestly. Every time you say yes to something unnecessary, what are you saying no to? Is it your health, your growth, your dreams, your future? Because time never asks for permission before moving forward. Let's slow down here. Saying no is not about being rude. It is not about ego. It is not about superiority. It is about clarity. Clarity about who you are. Clarity about where you are going. Clarity about what matters. People who lack clarity say yes to everything because they don't know what they stand for. People with clarity say no easily because their direction is already decided. Let me ask you another question. If your life had a mission, would your current yes support it or sabotage it? Sit with that question. Most people fear saying no because they fear rejection. But what they don't realize is this. When you never say no, you train people to ignore your limits. And when people ignore your limits, they stop respecting you. Respect does not come from sacrifice. It comes from standards. High-value people are respected, not because they give everything, but because they know what they won't give away. There is a strange paradox in life. The more you say yes, the less people value your yes. The more selective your yes becomes, the more powerful it feels. Think about this. If you're always available, your presence feels ordinary. But when your time is protected, your presence feels important. Not because you changed, but because you finally honored yourself. Let me say something that might make you uncomfortable. If saying no makes someone leave your life, they were never aligned with your growth. Real relationships respect boundaries. Fake ones test them. High-value individuals understand this deeply. Not every invitation is an opportunity. Not every request deserves your energy. Not every voice deserves your attention. And not every battle is worth your time. Saying no requires courage. Because when you say no, you stand alone for a moment. But that moment of loneliness is far better than a lifetime of regret. Look closely at successful people. They are not busier than everyone else. They are more selective. They guard their mornings. They protect their focus. They say no without guilt, because they understand something most people don't. You don't get disciplined by doing more. You get disciplined by choosing less. Ask yourself this powerful question. If I continue living like this, who will I become in 5 years? Rule number 4, surround yourself with high-value people. Let me begin with a simple question. Who are the people you spend the most time with? Not who you admire, not who you follow online, but who you talk to every day. Because whether you realize it or not, your future is being shaped by them. There is a powerful truth about success. Your environment is stronger than your motivation. You could be ambitious, disciplined, and talented. But if you surround yourself with small thinking, your growth will eventually slow down. High-value people don't just inspire you. They force you to rise. Let's understand this with a real-life example. Let's talk about Steve Jobs. Most people think Steve Jobs succeeded because he was a genius. That's only half the truth. What truly separated him was who he surrounded himself with. When Apple was still young, Jobs was obsessed with one thing: working only with the best. He didn't want average engineers. He didn't want comfortable thinkers. He wanted people who challenged him, argued with him, and made him better. He once said, A players like to work with A players. B players hire C players. Jobs deliberately built a culture where excellence was the minimum standard. Even when Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he founded, he didn't surround himself with people who complained or felt sorry for him. Instead, he built Pixar with world-class creative minds, and later returned to Apple stronger, sharper, and wiser. Same person, different circle, different outcome. Now, pause and think about this. If the people around you constantly complain, fear growth, mock ambition, settle for average, how far do you think you'll really go? High-value people change how you think. They normalize discipline. They normalize growth. They normalize excellence. When you are around them, your excuses feel weak. Your comfort zone feels small. Your potential feels closer. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Are the people around you pulling you forward or holding you in place? Because silence here is also an answer. Steve Jobs once walked into a room full of talented people and said, "This is not good enough." Not because he was cruel, but because he respected their potential too much to lie. High-value circles don't flatter you. They elevate you. This doesn't mean you abandon everyone. It means you become intentional. You listen more to those who are disciplined. You learn from those who are ahead of you. You limit exposure to negativity. And slowly, your standards rise. Fire powerful closing. If you want to increase your personal value, don't just work harder. Choose better people. Because ambition grows in the right environment. Focus sharpens in the right company. And greatness is built among those who refuse to be average. Remember this. You don't rise alone. You rise with your circle. Rule number 5 is stay consistent, not just motivated. Let me ask you something honestly. How motivated do you feel every single day? Some days you feel powerful and unstoppable. Some days you feel confused and tired. And some days you don't even feel like starting. Now ask yourself this important question. If your success depends on motivation, what happens on the days motivation disappears? This is where most people lose the game, not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they depend too much on feelings. Motivation is emotional and temporary. It depends on mood, energy, and external inspiration, while consistency is different because consistency is a decision. High-value people don't wait to feel ready. They act first and allow feelings to follow later. There's a powerful quote by Kobe Bryant, who once said that consistency is what transforms average into excellence. When you think about this, you realize that Kobe did not train only when he felt excited or inspired. He trained when he was tired, when he was bored, and when no one was watching, and that is exactly why his results were never average. Now let me ask you something important. Would you trust someone who shows up only when they feel like it? If the answer is no, then why do you expect extraordinary results from yourself if you only show up when motivation agrees with you? Another powerful thought comes from Bruce Lee, who said that long-term consistency beats short-term intensity. Most people start strong and work hard for a few days or weeks, but the moment life becomes uncomfortable, they stop. High-value individuals understand something very simple. Doing a small thing every day is far more powerful than doing a big thing occasionally. Think about two people who decide to go to the gym. One goes only when motivated, while the other goes on fixed days regardless of how they feel. After 1 year, the difference between them is obvious, not because one had more talent, but because one stayed consistent. This leads to an important truth you must remember, which is that you do not rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your habits. Motivation may start the journey, but habits decide the destination. Consistency is not exciting, and it does not bring instant attention or applause. In the beginning, it often feels boring and repetitive, but over time it builds something extremely rare, which is self-trust. Every time you show up despite resistance, you send yourself a powerful message that you can rely on yourself. And when you trust yourself, confidence becomes natural and unshakable. High-value people do not ask themselves whether they feel like doing something today. Instead, they ask whether this action aligns with the person they want to become, and then they act accordingly. Let me ask you one final question. If you continue living exactly the same way, with broken routines and inconsistent effort, where will you be in 5 years? Now imagine what happens if you simply show up every day without drama, without excuses, and without waiting for motivation. That quiet discipline is the true power behind long-term success. Motivation will fade, feelings will change, and energy will rise and fall, but consistency will carry you forward even on your weakest days. Stop chasing motivation and start honoring your commitments, because success does not come from what you do sometimes. It comes from what you do every single day. As we come to the end of this video, remember this: success is not about luck. It is about the values you choose to live by every single day. Each rule we discussed is a step toward becoming the best version of yourself. Stop being too available and start becoming valuable. Communicate with clarity and confidence. Surround yourself with high-value people. Take full responsibility for your life. And most importantly, commit to lifelong learning and adaptability. These are not just rules, they are choices. Choices that will shape your future, your relationships, and your success. Now it's your turn. Ask yourself, which of these rules will you start applying today? Because knowledge without action changes nothing. Action is what transforms your life. Thank you for watching. If this video inspired you, share it with someone who needs to hear these words. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful lessons on success and personal growth. Your journey to becoming valuable starts now.